My wife's friend. Cornered me. You need to break up with her. She deserves someone better. At our anniversary party, I said, you might be right. Then I announced to everyone what she'd just said. When my wife's friend got kicked out and blocked by everyone, I, 32 male, have been married to my wife for 5 years. We met in college, dated for 3 years before getting engaged, and honestly, she's still my favorite person on the planet. We're that couple who genuinely likes hanging out together. Movie nights, cooking disasters, arguing about whose turn it is to take out the trash, all of it. I thought our relationship was solid, unshakable even. Then came our 5th anniversary party. My wife wanted to do something special this year. 5 years felt like a milestone worth celebrating. So we rented out a private room at this nice restaurant downtown, invited about 40 of our closest friends and family. Her parents flew in, my brother drove 6 hours, the whole deal. Everything was going great. People were mingling, the food was incredible. My wife looked stunning in this navy blue dress she'd been excited about for weeks. Around 8 p.m., I stepped out to the hallway to take a call from a work client. Quick thing, maybe 2 minutes. That's when my wife's best friend since high school cornered me. She'd been drinking, not sloppy drunk, but enough that her filter was clearly gone. She blocked my path back to the party. Hey, can we talk? She said. Sure, what's up? She took a deep breath like she was about to deliver bad news. Look, I've wanted to say this for a long time. You need to end things with her. I literally laughed. What? I'm serious. You need to break up with her. She deserves someone better than you. The hallway suddenly felt very quiet. I could hear the party buzzing through the door, my wife's laugh somewhere in there, completely unaware. Excuse me? Don't make this harder than it needs to be, she continued. You're fine, I guess. But she could do so much better. She settled for you because she was scared of being alone after college. I've watched her dim herself down to fit your life for years. It's honestly sad. I stood there for a second, processing. This woman had been at our wedding. She'd given a speech about how perfect we were together. She'd been in our home dozens of times, eaten dinner with us, celebrated holidays with us. She deserves someone with more ambition, she went on. Someone who matches her energy. You're just comfortable, safe, boring. She needs passion. Here's the thing about me. I'm not a confrontational guy by nature. I avoid drama like the plague. But something about the way she said it, so casually certain, like she was doing me a favor, made something click. You know what? I said calmly. You might be right. She blinked, clearly not expecting agreement. Wait, really? Yeah. Let's go discuss this with everyone. Before she could respond, I walked back into the party room. She followed, probably thinking she'd won some kind of victory. I found my wife by the dessert table, talking to her sister. I walked up, put my hand gently on her back. She smiled up at me. Hey babe, everything okay with work? Yeah, all good. But hey, can I get everyone's attention for a second? The room quieted down. About 40 people turned to look at us. My wife looked confused but supportive, probably assuming I was about to make a toast. So I just had an interesting conversation in the hallway, I said, keeping my voice steady. My wife's best friend just pulled me aside and told me I need to break up with her. Said she deserves someone better than me, that I'm boring, and she settled. Dead silence. My wife's face went through about 6 emotions in 2 seconds. Her friend's face went pure white. What? My wife said. Ask her yourself. She seemed pretty confident about it. Everyone turned to look at her friend, who was standing frozen near the doorway. That's not... You're twisting my words, she sputtered. Really? Because you need to break up with her, she deserves someone better? Seems pretty straightforward to me. My wife stepped toward her friend. Is this true? I was just trying to help. You always complain about... I what? My wife's voice cut through the room. I complain about what exactly? You know, just little things. I thought maybe... Little things? I vent to you sometimes because you're supposed to be my friend, not because I want to end my marriage. My wife's mom stepped forward. Young lady, I think you need to leave. Mrs. Now. The friend looked around the room, desperately seeking any ally. Found none. Her boyfriend, who she'd brought as her +1, was staring at her like he'd never seen her before. "Babe, let's just go," he muttered, already grabbing his jacket. "But we're leaving." He practically dragged her out. The door closed behind them, and for a moment, nobody moved. Then my wife's dad raised his glass. "Well, to 5 years of marriage to a boring, safe guy." Everyone laughed, tension breaking. My wife grabbed my hand and squeezed hard. "We're talking about this later," she whispered. "I know." The rest of the party was actually great. People kept coming up to me telling me I handled it well. My brother called it the most satisfying thing he'd ever witnessed. My mother-in-law hugged me 3 times. But I knew this wasn't over, not by a long shot. Update 1 week later. So the fallout has been something. First, let me address the comments asking why I announced it publicly instead of handling it privately. Simple answer. I'd watched this woman undermine our relationship for years in small ways, and I didn't realize it until that moment in the hallway. The public announcement wasn't revenge, it was exposure. There's a difference. After the party, my wife and I had a long talk, like 4 hours long. She was devastated, angry, confused. She kept asking me why her best friend would do this. I told her about all the little things I'd noticed over the years, but never wanted to make a big deal about. How her friend would make comments about my job being stable but not exciting. How she'd show my wife pictures of her exes who'd done so well for themselves. How she'd suggest girls' trips during our anniversaries. How she'd tell my wife she deserved to treat herself whenever we were saving for something together. My wife started crying. I never connected the dots. I thought she was just being supportive. She was being strategic. We went through old text threads. It was eye-opening. Subtle digs at me disguised as concern for my wife. Questions like, "Are you sure he's putting in enough effort?" And "Don't you ever want more?" Always framed as friendly concern. Then Monday happened. My wife got a text from a mutual friend. "Hey, just wanted to let you know what's being said about your husband." Turns out her friend had started a damage control campaign. According to her version, I'd been verbally abusive at the party, had humiliated her publicly for no reason, and had clearly been drinking too much. She was telling people she'd simply been trying to have a private, caring conversation about my wife's happiness, and I'd twisted her words maliciously. The audacity, the absolute audacity. My wife showed me the screenshots. Her friend had sent a group message to their entire college friend group, about 15 women, painting herself as the victim of my explosive temper. Here's what she wrote. "I've been worried about her for years, but was afraid to say anything. Last night, I finally worked up the courage to gently express my concerns to her husband, hoping we could work together to make her happier. Instead, he dragged me in front of everyone and humiliated me. I've never been so scared of someone in my life. Please check on her. I'm worried she's in a controlling relationship." Controlling. She called me controlling. My wife was furious. She immediately got on a group call with the friends who'd actually been at the party, about 6 of them. Set the record straight. "Did he seem explosive to anyone?" she asked. Unanimous no. "Did he raise his voice?" No. "Did I seem controlled or afraid at any point?" "No, you seemed pissed at her." One friend who'd been standing near the hallway even said, "I heard most of it through the door. She literally told him to break up with you. He's not twisting anything." But here's where the entitlement really kicked in. Tuesday night, her friend showed up at our apartment, just rang the doorbell at 9 p.m. like that was a normal thing to do. I answered. She pushed past me into the living room. "We need to talk, all 3 of us, like adults." My wife came out of the bedroom. "What are you doing here?" "Fixing this. Your husband has clearly turned you against me, and I'm not going to let 15 years of friendship die because he's insecure." "I'm insecure?" I said. "You told me I was boring and my wife settled." "I was drunk. People say stupid things when they're drunk. You should have let it go, not made a scene." My wife stepped forward. "You've been undermining my marriage for years. I saw the texts." "What texts?" "All of them. Every little comment, every suggestion that he wasn't good enough. It's a pattern." Her friend's face flickered, just for a second, and I saw it. Recognition. She knew exactly what she'd been doing. "That's such a reach. I was being a good friend. I'm sorry I care about your happiness." "You don't get to define my happiness for me. I know you better than he does." The room went quiet. She'd said it louder than she meant to. 15 years, she continued, voice shaking now. 15 years I've been there for you, through everything, and you're going to throw that away for some guy you've known for 8 years? Some guy? He's my husband. And I'm your best friend. Or I was, before he poisoned you against me. My wife took a breath. I think you need to leave. No, not until we fix this. There's nothing to fix. You told my husband to leave me at our anniversary party. That's not something I can forgive. I was trying to help you. Help me with what? Help you see that you could have more. Look at you. You're smart, beautiful, successful. You could have anyone, and you're stuck with this. She gestured at me like I was furniture. I stayed quiet. This wasn't my fight anymore. This was my wife finally seeing who her friend really was. Get out, my wife said quietly. No. Get out of my home or I'm calling the police. Her friend stared at her for a long moment. Then she laughed, this hollow, bitter sound. You'll regret this. When this marriage falls apart, and it will, don't come crying to me. I won't be there. She walked to the door, turned back one more time. He's not special. I don't know why you can't see that. The door slammed behind her. My wife stood there for a moment, then burst into tears. I held her while she processed losing a friendship she'd had since middle school. I'm so sorry, I said. Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong. We thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Where do I even start? After the confrontation at our apartment, things got weird. Her friend went quiet for about a week. No texts, no calls, nothing. We actually thought she'd accepted it and moved on. Then I got a call from my boss. Hey, do you know someone who might have a grudge against you? My stomach dropped. Why? We got an anonymous email to HR claiming you've been making inappropriate comments to female coworkers. Very detailed accusations, names, dates, specific incidents. My blood went cold. That's completely false. I figured. The dates listed, you were out of office for 2 of them. Conference in the other city. But I wanted to give you a heads up. HR has to investigate regardless. The investigation took 8 days. 8 days of uncomfortable interviews, checking security footage, talking to the women I allegedly harassed, all of whom were confused and said nothing inappropriate had ever happened. 8 days of my reputation being questioned. The complaint was dismissed as unsubstantiated and potentially malicious. But the damage was done. People looked at me differently for a while. The whisper of accusation is hard to shake even when you're cleared. I had no proof it was her friend who sent it. Anonymous email, VPN, nothing traceable. But the timing was suspicious. And one of the incidents described happened at a work happy hour my wife had mentioned to her friend months ago. My wife confronted her over text. Did you file a false HR complaint against my husband? I don't know what you're talking about. But if someone did, maybe there's truth to it. There isn't. It was dismissed. Just because HR dismissed it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Men like him are good at hiding things. Men like him? You've known him for years. Clearly not as well as I thought. My wife screenshot everything and blocked her. But it didn't stop. The boyfriend, the guy who dragged her out of our anniversary party, reached out to me directly. Hey man, I know this is weird, but I just wanted to apologize for my part in all this. I had no idea she was like this. We broke up the night of your party. What happened? On the drive home, she admitted she'd been in love with your wife since college, said she'd been waiting for the marriage to fail so she could be there for her. When I asked how long she'd felt this way, she said always. I was just a prop to make her seem normal. Everything suddenly made sense. The undermining, the subtle digs, the she deserves better speech. It wasn't jealousy of me specifically. It was jealousy of anyone who had my wife. I told my wife. She took it. Hard. Not because the idea was shocking in retrospect, but because she trusted this person with so much. She was in my bridal party, my wife said quietly. She helped me pick my dress. I know. She watched me marry you and said nothing. For 5 years. I know. What was the plan? Wait until we divorced and then confess? Probably. My wife was silent for a long time. Then, I need to tell our friends the whole truth. She did. wrote a measured, factual message to their shared friend group, explained the anniversary incident, the home confrontation, the lies being spread, the HR complaint, and finally, what the ex-boyfriend had revealed. The responses were immediate and overwhelming. Turns out, I wasn't the only husband she'd tried to undermine over the years. 2 other women came forward with similar stories, comments about how they'd settled, suggestions that their partners weren't good enough, always wrapped in concern. One friend wrote, "She told me my husband's family was trash, and I should think about whether I wanted my kids around them. I almost didn't invite his parents to our wedding because of her." Another, "She convinced me to skip my husband's promotion celebration because he'd understand. He didn't understand. We fought about it for weeks." Pattern of behavior. She'd been doing this to every married friend she had, just less aggressively than with my wife. Within 2 weeks, she'd been blocked by everyone in that friend group. 15 years of friendships, gone. Not because of me, because of the things she did that I exposed. Her mother called my wife last week, yelling, crying, demanding to know why everyone was treating her daughter like a criminal. My wife explained, calmly, with receipts. Her mother's response, "Well, she was just looking out for her friends. You're all overreacting." The entitlement runs in the family, apparently. Last I heard through the grapevine, she's moved back in with her parents. The boyfriend is dating someone new. She's been telling anyone who'll listen that I orchestrated a campaign to destroy her life. She filed a harassment complaint against ME with the police. It went nowhere. The officer who called me actually sounded apologetic. "We have to follow up on these things, but there's nothing here. You're fine." My wife and I are doing okay. Better than okay, actually. Something about surviving this together made us stronger. We talk more now. Check in with each other about how we're feeling. Don't let small things fester. I'm not going to pretend I'm some hero in this story. I'm just a guy who got tired of being undermined and chose transparency over confrontation. The public announcement at the party wasn't planned revenge. It was instinct. Maybe the instinct of someone who'd sensed something was off for years and finally had proof. Do I feel bad about how her life imploded? A little, honestly. She clearly has issues that go deeper than just being entitled. The unrequited feelings, the years of hiding them, the manipulation as a coping mechanism. That's sad, objectively. But she made choices. At any point, she could have been honest with my wife. Could have worked through her feelings in therapy. Could have distanced herself from the marriage instead of trying to destroy it. She chose manipulation. She chose lies. She chose to file a false complaint that could have cost me my career. Actions have consequences, even when you've been friends with someone for 15 years. My wife still cries sometimes, usually late at night when she thinks I'm asleep. The grief of losing someone you trusted is real, even when they betrayed you. I hold her through it. Tell her I'm not going anywhere, because I'm not. 5 years married, hopefully 50 more. And yeah, I'm boring, safe, and comfortable. Turns out my wife likes that just fine.